Most people have no idea how important the extension of their big toe is, not just for their foot health, but for the way their whole body experiences natural movements like walking, running, squatting, and jumping. So we actually need at least 60 degrees of big toe extension for efficient walking mechanics, and if we can't access that range of motion, we have to compensate for it in some way by shifting the load into other areas, which reduces our efficiency and increases the risk of overload injuries. And how do we lose our big toe extension? Well, genetics and previous injuries can play a role for sure. However, for the most part, it's a simple matter of disuse over time. Much of that can be blamed on the narrow, rigid footwear that most people wear day to day, but also just our lack of exposure to the natural movements that would usually keep our toes moving. Okay, for kneeling toe extension, we're setting up on the ground and especially starting on all fours. If you need some cushions or mats underneath your knees, completely fine, and will help you spend more time down here. So highly recommend that at first. And from here, you've got your toes up into extension as far as you can. And then you are gently rocking your body weight back onto your heels, which will just push your toes into more and more extension. So the key part here is that you have control over how far you go. So that might mean that you start like this and you get to about here, and that might be your limit. And then you're just rocking in and out of that range. And over time, the idea would be that you start to build that up, that range, and sink further and further into that toe extension. So one point here is that the position of your heels will affect which toes you're putting the stretch or stimulus through. So if my heels are more in line, that will be more through my big toe. And if my heels go out, that'll be more through my little toes. So neither is right or wrong. For most people though, they will need to learn to load and extend through their big toe more than the others. And so you may notice that you have a tendency to allow the heels to come out, and that's because you're avoiding that big toe extension. So it's good to be aware of that and to purposely practice at least some of the time with your heels more in line so that your big toes are loaded. So as you build comfort in this range, you may feel ready to take away the support of your hands. You could still have cushioning under your knees, and then you could be putting even more of your body weight onto your heels by doing this kneeling sit back, like so. And you might start with even less of that range. You could have a cushion on your heels and just start with a smaller amount of range, and then build that up. And then eventually you could even look at doing a kneeling reach back. So there's lots of ways that you can progress, but remember, just starting in a very small and tolerable range of motion and gradually exploring and expanding that over time is the name of the game. This tutorial is taken directly from our foot restoration program, which is a 12-week course that guides you through every step of the journey towards restoring natural foot function. So I highly recommend checking that out if you're struggling to make progress towards your foot health goals.